After NDCD, page 130. See, tertiary education. Education financial support. It's a no-fee stress. The next NDC government will introduce a no-fee stress policy to alleviate the hardship on parents and students in public tertiary institutions. Under this policy, we will 1. Implement a no academic fees policy for all first-year students in public tertiary institutions. Provide continuing students with financial assistance through the reintroduction of redevelopment of our Student Loan Trust Fund Plus and the reformed scholarship regime. 3. Provide free tertiary education for all persons with disability. 4. Revamp the Student Loan Trust Fund to increase amount based on needed assessment to ensure prompt disbursement. Promote the establishment of Tertiary Endowment Fund in partnership with alumni philanthropists, corporate Ghana, among others, to support students in public tertiary universities. Provide trainee allowances, student loans, and other diverse funding options for teacher and nursing trainee. Bed for all, affordable accommodation for tertiary education. We will implement Bed for All program by investing in building student hostels and facilities to expand the expansion of accommodation facilities for tertiary students through PPP schemes, and 2. Engaging private investors in student housing to regulate accommodation prices. Creating a new scholarship regime. The next NDC government will introduce legislation to usher in a new era of government scholarship administration, which will implement no academic fees policy for all first-year students in all public tertiary universities, revamp the Student Loan Trust Fund, provide free tertiary education for all individuals living with disabilities, promote the establishment of tertiary endowment funds, provide continuing students with financial assistance, establish a college of education in the Afram Plains North to address professional teacher deficit challenges, invest in building student hostel and the expansion of accommodation facility for tertiary students through PPP schemes, operationalize the national research funds to support indigenous academic research. Prohibit the award of scholarship to government officials and politically exposed persons. Streamline and realign scholarship across couple sectors to do away with the current uncoordinated regime. Eliminate political patronage, corruption, and nepotism in the award of government scholarships. Ensure that government scholarships are reserved for the vulnerable and marginalized on the principle of meritocracy, equity, and inclusivity. We will decollateralize the GET fund and restore it to its original mandate of educational financing. Continue with our policy to establish public universities in every region with a focus on the newly created regions. We will abolish the teacher license examination and integrate the licensing process into the final year examination of trainees. We will scrap the MPP's mandatory national service for teacher trainee graduates and restore the automatic employment of newly qualified teachers. We will patronize the timely promotion of teachers and ensure the availability of funds for their remuneration. We will institute the Teacher Dabre project to provide accommodation facilities for teachers within new schools building. We will introduce a special allowance of 20% of basic salary for teachers who accept posting to rural and undeserved communities. We will partner with teacher union to initiate the government association mortgage scheme to support teachers to own homes. We will collaborate with teacher union to institute guarantee rent loans for newly trained graduates of College of Education. We will initiate a scheme to assist teachers own vehicle of their choice by offering flexible duty payment arrangements and government guarantees in partnership with teachers union and the banking sectors. We will expand continuous professional development opportunities through scholarships, teacher mentorship, career development programs, and digital learning platforms for teachers. And we will establish a College of Education in the Afram Plains to address the acute professional teacher deficit. So the next NDC government will embark on the following legal reform to enhance access to professional legal education. We will conduct a comprehensive review of professional legal education aimed at accrediting certified law faculties to run the professional law course under the supervision of the General Legal Counsel. We will facilitate the establishment of a faculty of law in the Northern region to serve the Northern sector and review the Legal Professional Act in consultation with stakeholders to address current challenges and emerging frontiers occasioned by technology. The NPP government mismanaged the health sector. Mismanagement of the health sector by the NPP government during their nearly 8 years in government has resulted in significant rise in both communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. As of July 2024, CDC accounts for 48% of Ghana's disease burden, while NDC constitutes 42% of all age-related mortality. The Ghana Demographic Health Survey released in July 2024 highlights a troubling trend of 50% of Ghanaian doctors and 24% of nurses migration to work abroad. In the past 3 years, this brain drain has exacerbated the crisis, leading to a deplorable health system. So in response, the next NDC government will deploy cost-effective strategy to expand infrastructure, upgrading existing medical facilities. The health worker motivation for quality health care. We will develop a health worker migration policy framework to facilitate ethical migration of health workers, promote knowledge exchange, and regulate the impact on brain drain on our health system. We will introduce risk exposure insurance for health workers to provide financial protection and support in the event of injuries. The NPP government has been marked by abuse of office, greed, economic mismanagement, nepotism, and corruption, leading to a significant decline in good governance in Ghana. This NPP administration has actively undermined and politicized independent state institutions such as the Judicial, the Electoral Commission, the Audit Service, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The 2018 removal of the EC chairperson, Ms. Charlotte Osei, and her 2 deputies, along with the unconstitutional dismissal of Attorney General Daniel Ayo Demilovo, exemplify the governance interference and politicization of these bodies. The appointment of known NPP activists as judges and members of Electoral Commission further illustrate this trend. Recruitment into security agencies has been tainted by nepotism, partisanship, and corruption, thereby undermining professionalism. Despite promises to combat corruption, the NPP government has fomented and protected it. Scandals such as the PDS, SML, Scholarship Secretariat, Kroll and Associates boost contaminated fuel, Australian visa, National Cathedral, sales of Smith hotels to a cabinet minister, active involvement of government officials in illegal mining, missing excavators, missing tricycles, the ambulance spare parts deal, and the unethical conduct of Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa have severely damaged the country's reputation internationally. Unfortunately, the president and other government officials have actively worked to cover up these corrupt activities, shielding perpetrators from prosecution or exonerating them. This has resulted in dismal ranking of Ghana and the corruption perception by Transparency International. Press freedom and civil liberty have suffered under the NPP government. Many journalists and critics feel unsafe, with some seeking protection in foreign countries. Critical radio stations have been forcibly shut down. The government routinely uses security agencies to suppress peaceful protests and investigate journalism. Ahmed Hussein Swale was assassinated. The government has since failed to bring the perpetrators of these crimes to justice. Restoring good governance and effectively combating corruption are crucial for Ghana's future. By promoting good governance, the NDC government will reduce the size of government by appointing no more than 60 ministers. To addressing the disparities between Article 71 office holders and the wider public service, scrap the payment of the ex gratia, establish an independent emoluments commission by merging the Presidential Commission on the Emoluments and the Fair Wages and Salary Commission as recommended by the Constitutional Review Commission. Realigning and merging MDAs to eliminate duplication of waste. Reduce the number of political appointees in the office of the government machinery. Establish a Constitution Review Implementation Committee to implement the recommendations of the Constitution Review Commission. Align donor-funded projects with government priorities to ensure the efficient use of resources. Create and enforce a culture of national discipline, patriotism, punctuality, and result-oriented leadership in the public and civil service, and engage stakeholders to review the regulatory framework for political parties, financing, and reviewing the policy of providing official housing for political appointees. Fighting corruption and ensuring transparency in government, the NDC will launch Operation Cover All Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover proceeds of corruption. Initiate legislation to prohibit political appointees, politically exposed persons, and all serving public officials from pursuing state assets. Establish a state asset registry to effectively protect state assets. Usher in an era of transparency and accountability in the management of state assets and addresses the detrimental phenomenon of state capture. Set up an inquiry into the matter of looted state lands and the implementation of the Accra Redevelopment Policy and make recommendations as appropriate. Conduct a forensic audit and an inquiry into the National Cathedral scandal to make recommendations on the future of the project. Launch inquiries into the numerous scandals that have rocked the nation under the corrupt NPP government, implement the recommendation of the Justice Yao Apao Commission of Inquiry into judgment debts approved in the government white paper, enact a conflict of interest legislation for all government and public officials, set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize government procurement above $5 million, or, as Parliament may decide, review a Public Procurement Act 2003, Act 663 as amended, to ensure value for money and transparency in the public procurement process and pursue procurement reforms to prevent conflict of interest, inside dealings by politically exposed persons in the award of contracts. Collaborate with the judicial and establish a special court for persons who adverse findings have been made against the Auditor General and Parliament. Support the Auditor General to enforce the sachet powers of his or her office to retrieve embezzled funds with interest. Increase financial, logistical, and ethical support for YOCO to Financial Intelligence Center and other anti-corruption institutions. Page 36. Page 136. Justice for all. Page 142. The NDC will reopen investigations into major unresolved cases, including the Ayawasu West Wuogon election violence, 2020 election killings, unresolved murder of Ahmed Hussein Swale and Silas Wuluchame, expand the court infrastructure and scale up the technical and human resource of justice sector institutions, conduct a comprehensive review on our criminal justice system, and in particular introduce non-custodial sentence and other alternative forms of punishment for certain criminal offenses, promote the use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, including aggressive public education and sensitization on available ADR mechanisms, to decongest the court, support the judicial to establish high courts in the 6 newly created regions where these do not exist. Support the judicial to establish courts of appeal in Western, Northern, and Volta regions. To build digital and physical law libraries to enhance legal research and resource of Council for Law reporting to regular and expeditiously produced the Ghana Law Report. It enhanced the implementation of the e-Justice project initiated by the NDC government. Integrate digital solutions to enhance the administration and delivery of justice. Extend judicial service, including courts and e-Justice solutions, to prisons to enhance justice delivery. Decentralization the Legal Aid Commission to the district level and resourced it to effectively serve the poor, indigent, and victim of domestic violence. Expand the child-friendly court program to all regional capitals to include child-sensitive training for judges, court staff, and DOFSU staff, among other institutions in handling children cases.